It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Jacksonville University head softball coach, Coach Erica Ayers. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great, Brandon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start coaching in college softball?
I think, you know, being a player, I love the game and didn't really ever want to leave it. And then at some point, your playing days end and it's so what's next? Really, really fortunate that I could jump right in at George Mason where I graduated and start. And then a couple years into coaching, I really started to think, heck yeah, this is what I want to do. Just the constant learning about the game, the constant giving back to the kids, seeing their growth. It was something that I really enjoyed it and kind of knew a few years in that, yeah, this is something I want to do for a long time.
What was that experience like playing for George Mason?
It was phenomenal. I think just getting the opportunity to play a college sport, it's hard to describe. It's probably one of the best 4 years of my life. Ton of friends, ton of competition. It's a great experience. It's hard, but if you love it, it's the best time of your life.
How was that experience like getting to put on that softball jersey and represent George Mason?
Um, yeah, like I said, I just think there's nothing, more exciting than playing for your school, your community, and with your best friends, and competing, for that name on the front of the jersey.
As a player, what were some of your biggest accomplishments?
As a player, I think, when I look back, what I'm really, really proud of as a player is just, where I came from. Not, I didn't play a big travel ball scene. I played a lot of actually slow pitch growing up. Fast pitch kind of started becoming big as I got older in high school. Walked on to George Mason, started every game my freshman year, earned a scholarship. So I think my proudest accomplishment is just earning that, walking on to a Division I program and earning my way and starting every game.
How was that experience like, as you said, walking onto a program and getting to start?
It's exciting. I mean, I didn't really think a lot of it then. I was just, practicing and playing, doing what I love to do every day. And it just kind of worked out that way. But looking back, it's just something that I can be proud of kind of later in life.
What was it like getting started in college coaching and getting your first coaching job?
Um, just really lucky, really, really fortunate, really grateful for the opportunity. Beth Fulcher is the woman who gave me my first opportunity right when I graduated. And it was kind of a dual role situation. So I was part-time softball, part-time athletic events kind of coordinator. I sold soccer tickets. I worked track meets. I worked the music at basketball games. But I got to be at practice every day and be at all the softball games. And that was kind of my experience the first couple of years before it turned full time. But yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was a great experience. And just really, really fortunate that everybody at that school gave me that opportunity.
How was that experience like going to Georgetown to become the assistant coach?
The move to Georgetown, it was exciting. Georgetown's an awesome university, great place to be. It was an easier move for me because they're in similar areas. I didn't really have to move. I stayed in the same house. So that part easy. I was just looking for a change. And Pat Conlon was awesome enough to give me that opportunity. We hit it off. I loved my 6 years at Georgetown. And my 6 years with Pat. She's one of my best friends and one of my biggest mentors. Really, really good experience.
Of course, during your 6 years as the assistant coach at Georgetown, what were some of the things that you learned to help you get that opportunity to become a head coach?
What did I learn at Georgetown? I mean, Pat was awesome. She gave me a lot of lead to do a lot of things, working with the hitters and the infielders. Kind of showed me the ins and outs. Let me do a lot of recruiting. And then the biggest thing, I learned from Pat is just dealing with people and how to treat people and managing people. And, she's one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. So that stuff kind of really, really rubbed off me. Not to mention, I mean, she's really, really great pitching coach, good coach, knows the game, like just an incredible experience. And I just think the amount of rope she gave me to learn on the fly, I think really, really helped me. Really, really appreciative of that.
How was that experience like for you to get the job as the head coach at Jacksonville University?
Becoming the head coach here at Jacksonville, kind of a dream come true. Always wanted to coach. Wasn't in a hurry really to be a head coach, but the time was right, and I absolutely love it here. Just again, really, really grateful for the opportunity that they've given me, and this is a great place. We're doing big things. Really, really excited to grow this program.
Of course, after the press conference of being announced as the next head coach, what was that start like, building that program and building the coaching staff around you?
When I took over, there wasn't we didn't have a big press conference or anything. Like, I came down here with a good friend of mine was coaching down here. She brought me down here to be her assistant. She was fortunate enough to get another job. I decided to stay and try to take this program over. Like I said, Alex and Scott gave me an opportunity to do that. So they just kind of announced the resignation of one and then kind of announced me taking over. So it happened really fast. As far as the coaching staff goes, we really kind of the whole staff just kind of moved up a position. I went from assistant coach to head coach. Our volunteer coach, I kept him on as an assistant. Our grad assistant was doing some of the pitching. I kept her on to do the pitching. So it was really pretty seamless.
What was that feeling like the first time you took the field as a head coach?
What was the feeling like?
Mhm.
Awesome. A lot of adrenaline, a lot of excitement. Definitely a different feel as a head coach. As an assistant, you work, you kind of have your area, you do what you do, you give your opinion, but at the end of the day, someone else is making the final decisions, and then, being the head coach, it's like, okay, all these decisions, you get your input, but at the end of the day, the final decisions are mine and the buck stops with me. So there's definitely a little bit of, intensity that comes with that and excitement. So it was good. It was good.
What does a typical game day look like at Jacksonville University?
Like a home game?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends on what time, let's take a normal conference schedule. We're playing a doubleheader on Saturday. So like a 1 o'clock, 3:30 start on Saturday. So kids get to the building. We'll start warming up around 11:15. So they're probably in and around the building around 10:15, in and out of the training room, just real loose, hanging out, getting ready. And then we'll take a little BP at 11:15, and get a good stretch, get our throwing done, take infield, outfield about 30 minutes prior to the first pitch, and then it's go time.
Of course, in a doubleheader, what is that like, obviously having both 2 games in 1 game?
In one day.
Mhm.
The great thing about softball is we play so many games, and especially when you play 2 games in a day, no matter what happens in game 1, it's a quick rebound. It's a okay, we did a good job, boom, move on, or flush it. That wasn't what we wanted. Let's go. Let's move on. It's just you got to rebound really, really quick. So to me, you just how fast you can rebound, how fast you can let, whether it was positive or negative, let that one go, and then next pitch. So there's always another game to get that. If you do drop a game, it's not like football. You have to wait a week to get that feeling out of your stomach. You get to go back at it right away and correct your mistakes and get on the other side of it.
How's it been like obviously having a doubleheader and having that, let's say you have a bad game in the first game, but then you perform well in the second game?
Well, it's definitely easier to go home at night, with the road, like when you're on the road and you travel day is always nicer on W, but, we're really process oriented. So, win or lose, how did we play? Like, did we do the things that we set out to do that we're accustomed to doing? Did we control what we can control? And win or lose, if we did those things, we can feel like we're moving in the right direction.
Who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
So we're in the Atlantic Sun Conference. So from the South, you got Florida Gulf Coast, Stetson, us, North Florida. Those are the Florida schools. You go up to Atlanta to Kennesaw State, up to Virginia with Liberty, Queens, North Carolina just added this year, so that'll be a new opponent for us. Austin P in Tennessee, Lipscomb is in Nashville, Eastern Kentucky, Bellarmine is in Louisville, Central Arkansas, North Alabama, Jacksonville State. So there's 14 of us, so it's a big league right now. Lot of competition, a lot of really, really good coaches, really, really good softball programs. So it's a fun league.
Of course, what is that like playing in those teams that are in your area, in the Florida area, like Florida Gulf Coast?
There's a little bit of a rivalry, just being in the same state, recruiting a lot of the same kids. UNF, especially being 12 miles away from us. That's the kind of a league and city rivalry with them. So it's fun. The coaches in the league are great. We have a lot of, I think, mutual respect for each other, and we like competing against each other. So it's a good time.
How's that been like obviously preparing for those new teams like Austin Peay and Liberty?
Well, Liberty we've played a little bit. Austin Peay's new. We're just gonna have to. Hopefully, we got some time. We'll get to see some film on their preseason games in February and March before we need to play them. So that's what we'll do. We'll take a look at as many games as we can get before we go play them, and try to get a feel for what it's going to be like. But I expect everybody to be really, really competitive and really, really tough.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built as a head coach for the softball program?
The culture here, is that what you said? Okay. Yeah, I mean, we are very, very family oriented. Like, I think our kids read this book the last 2 years called The Heart-Led Leader. So basically just leading basically with love and with empathy, kind of balancing empathy and accountability. We're very student first, like player first, athlete second. We're not, playing softball is what we do. It's not who we are. So we realize that our kids are more than just softball players. We try to connect with them in other areas of their life and things that they like to do. We spend a lot of time with each other. So that team cohesion is really, really important to us. And then we also just try to bring in kids with the same the same values and same work ethic and same love for softball, and kids that love to be on the field and don't want to be anywhere else. Culture kind of is, it's something people talk about a lot, but it's really just what we do daily. You can say whatever you want, but it's just kind of how you interact with everybody, how you treat people, what we allow and don't allow on a daily basis. So we've got a great group of kids right now that are doing everything that we ask. Seem to get along really, really well right now. So we're looking forward to the spring.
What are some of your future plans for the softball program?
Well, the goal is to build a ASUN championship contender perennially. I mean, that's the goal. We want to win an ASUN championship. We are, we're building. There's been a lot of growth. I mean, we've made some facility upgrades. We made it to the semis a couple years ago. It's coming, but that's the plan. The plan is to win an ASUN championship, and the plan is to be, one of the top contenders in the league year in and year out. That's what we're building. That's what we're going to do here shortly.
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play college softball?
So we do a lot of recruiting out of the travel ball circuit, the club circuit, all summer, all fall. We go out, we go to the best tournaments in the Southeast, try to identify talent, try to get them on campus. We love to work with our kids in camps and clinics. I think that's a big deal. So they can learn kind of how we work. We can kind of learn how they work and see if it'll be a good mix. And then we're, obviously the school part of it needs to match up. We have to have a degree that they're interested in. They have to be a good student as well. And then, if the softball and the school works out, then you're looking at the intangibles. Like, we want to make sure we bring in great kids, great families that have the same values that we have, and are going to be a good fit for our university. And then we go from there.
As a head coach, what are some of the things that you look at in those prospective student athletes when going out on the road and visiting them?
Well, when we're going to look for players, we're looking for kids that basically the 5 tools. Like, we're looking for kids that run a little faster than everybody else, kids that, catch the ball a little bit better, throw a little bit more accurate, a little bit harder, kids that hit the ball a little bit harder and a little bit more often than everybody else. Those are the 5 tools. When you talk about a baseball, softball player, we're looking for kids that excel in those areas. Now, you get the kids that excel in all 5. Those are typically your top 20 program kids, your Power 5 kids. So we're looking for kids that, at least have, 1 to 3 of those where they really, really excel. So yeah, that's what we're looking for. We look for that. And then once you can play, once we determine you can play and you can help us win, then we start digging into you as a person, your schooling, your academics, and make sure it's going to be a good fit that way. And it's equally as important. But there's a ton of good kids out there that may not be able to help us win softball games. So that's kind of the first piece. And then equally as important, but kind of second, we look at, those intangibles.
What does it look like when you bring them on for an official visit to Jacksonville University?
So an official visit, typically we bring the family in. We'll have at least 1 or 2 meals with them over the course of their time here. We'll do a campus tour, set up a meeting maybe with a professor or a dean in the college that they're interested in. And then we give the kids to our kids, and let them spend some time together, the evening together, because that's the most important piece. Like, you need to spend time with the kids that you're going to be playing on the same team with, and it's important that our current kids get a good feel from the recruits, and it's important that the recruits get a good feel for our kids. Or else, it's not going to work.
Whereas, how is that like, obviously seeing those freshmen when they get to put on that jersey for the first time and get to represent the Dolphins?
Oh, the excitement for the first game day. It's a pretty cool thing. Just the smiles on their face, the love for the game, the excitement that they have going out there. I've been doing this a long time, so sometimes I forget a little bit, but like the nerves, that they have. But it's a pretty cool experience. And then just watching them grow from freshmen to seniors, those 4 years, the development of kids, those 4 years is just incredible. And just, them coming in as squirrely little freshmen and then leaving as, grown women ready to attack the world. Yeah, it's a pretty fun experience to be a part of and witness.
What advice would you give those high school athletes that are looking to play college softball?
Advice for high school athletes: focus on your game. Focus on you. Do not. Everybody's unique. Everybody has a different race to run. Everybody's timeline's different, right? Like, if you love to play softball, if you love your craft, like, focus on your craft. Like, just, you got to put in the work. You can want and wish all you want, but at the end of the day, you got to go put in your work. And then whatever you're good at, like, keep enhancing those strengths, because you need to develop 1 or 2 or 3 of those tools that are going to help a program win. Like, that's what everybody's looking for. They're looking for if you run well, use that. If you are a great defender, hone that skill and use it. Like, there's people out there that are looking for really great defenders to put in the middle of their defense. If you're a great hitter, like, hone that, focus on your strength, but also, and then maybe try to add a little bit. But the more tools that you can be great in, the better chance you're going to have, the more opportunities you're going to have.
What advice would you give those college athletes that are looking to play professionally, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or the national level?
Oof, same thing. You have to, I'm not super familiar with the professional ranks or USA softball and how they go about their selection processes. But I would venture to say, if you are a great collegiate athlete, then they'll be looking for you. So I think you got to focus on where you're at, be where your feet are, be the best that you can. And if you end up being one of those best players, then, I'm sure they'll come find you.
What advice would you give those players that are looking to represent a national level and represent their country, whether it's Canada, US, or Mexico?
Same advice. You just got to be where your feet are and become the best version of yourself, be the best player you're capable of. And try to get yourself in front of those people that make those decisions. That's really all you can control.
What advice would you give those college coaches that are looking to get started and even one day become head coaches?
Advice to college coaches or people looking to coach. I think making sure that first of all, I think you just got to put yourself out there, and you got to be willing to do it for free. Really, you got to get your foot in the door somehow. But I think it's important to really, really find people that you trust and that you, again, same thing, have the same values as, that you work well together, just good people to work with, because I can't stress that enough. We're around each other so much. If you're around the right people, good things can happen.
What advice would you give those future head coaches such as yourself looking to get started in coaching as a head coach?
Looking to be a head coach, really, you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta get your foot in the door. Do the best job you can with where you're at. I think that's great advice for players and coaches alike. Coach wherever you are, coach like you would coach if you were at your dream job. And then just keep building, keep networking, keep meeting people. The recruiting circuit, the camp circuit is great for meeting people and putting your name out there. Go work camps where a bunch of other coaches are working, and you'll get noticed. Just the more people you can meet, the bigger your network can be. And then and don't ever stop studying the game. Don't ever stop, learning and enhancing what you're good at, and then also trying to enhance some stuff that might be a weakness of yours. But yeah, people, networking.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the softball program at?
On social media, on Twitter, Jax_Coach E. I'm on Twitter. That's probably the most I'm on social media is on Twitter. Little bit of Facebook, little bit of Instagram. I'm trying to up my Instagram game. But again, same thing, Jax Coach E. Jax_softball is where you can find Jax Softball on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So we try to put a little bit of content out there.
Thank you again, Coach Erica Ayers, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at Jacksonville University as the head softball coach.
Awesome. You bet. Thank you so much, Brandon.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Aaron, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thanks.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.